Hey guys, I'm AnythingRL, and welcome back to another video. Sorry I haven't uploaded in like a month.
A month. Yeah, sure. Yeah, sure, a month.
I'll get to that, but I'm going to talk about what I want to talk about today. What do I want to talk about? The music in Transformers, especially the movies. Now, why do I want to talk about this? Well, I like music, I like Transformers, I make videos. Let's just do all three. And also that I just think music is definitely overlooked as a key element in making a movie. I think it is very important, and I don't think people really see that for a score or licensed track. And especially in the Transformers Bayverse movies.
eBay.
I think the music definitely plays a key role into making like those movies. No matter how bad you think they were, they are memorable, and the music very much helps with that. Now, examples of just music in general being important in films is, let's think of John Williams. You may know him as the composer of Star Wars, Indiana Jones, Schindler's List, Harry Potter, Home Alone. The list goes on and on for the movies that he composed. But especially with Star Wars, the music in that movie is really great for bringing you in that universe. With the theme song, the Star Wars theme song, it gets you set for the movie. It gets you into the action. It's like the prologue. It's like, hey, this movie is about to start, and you gotta be prepared. That's kind of what it's like. It's kind of like a hype song, kind of, for me. I don't know if it is for others, but I like it. I think a lot of people do. Anyway, so just like with the Imperial March 2, when you hear that, you think of evil, you think of the Dark Lord Darth Vader, you feel like you're in his presence. That's what music can do in a movie. It sets the tone, it gives you emotions that need to be felt during some scenes. There may be scenes that, like, may make you feel a certain way, but because of the music, and the music can be so helpful with that. Just think of, like, a movie where the dog dies. It's gonna be a totally different setting if it's, like, a happy, like, tone. It's not gonna give you the same feel as, like, that, like, one low note piano or high note piano note soundtrack playing in the background while the dog dies and you're crying your eyes out because you love pets more than humans.
For the love of God!
And that's what music can do in movies. It sets the tone and enhances emotions. And the question is, does Transformers do that? Does it set the tone? Does the music in Transformers set the tone for the movies and what you're watching? And does the music in Transformers, whether it's the score by Steve Jablonsky or a licensed track, does it enhance the emotions for the audience? 120% it totally does, and I will tell you why. Now, setting the tone for this movie is going to have something that amplifies the spectacle of this action-packed universe. The iconic opening notes of the main theme, composed by Steve Jablonsky, immediately immerses you in the world of gigantic robots in heroic battles. Just from arrival to Earth, it gives you that adrenaline-fueled introduction that hooks you from the start. And a thing to note about the soundtrack and the scoring of Transformers is not fast-paced, but the action is very fast. Like, there's a lot of, fast gunshots, fast transformations, fast car chase scenes. But the scores, or the scorings for these scenes, or just in the movies in general, it's very slow. And I'm not saying that in a bad way. They're not fast-paced songs. They are very slow-paced songs. Their tempo is very slow. And I think that gives those scenes and those elements just such a great value. It shows you what is important to the movie and what the important scenes are and what you're supposed to pay attention to. Now, obviously, in a movie, you probably should pay attention to most of the movie, but scenes like these where, they slow down for a little bit and they play these blasting trumpets in the background, but they're very smooth. And, the opera of, like, people singing, of a group of people singing, slowly rises. It gives you that scene. Like, that scene right there is what this movie is all about. And that's what I love about the scoring and setting the tone. Sure, it's a fast-paced movie about aliens, robots attacking each other, but it's more than that. It's, two sides fighting a war against each other because they have, disagreements, and their planet is in ruins, and they have to fight for the savior of another planet's race. It sets a bigger tone than just giant fighting robots. It sets a better value. And like I said, with how slow-paced the songs are for the scoring by Steve Jablonsky, it captures this perfectly in the films. And setting the tone is what Steve Jablonsky nails in this movie. Sure, it's a movie about giant fighting robots, but it's also, more than meets the eye. Now, enhancing the emotions. Steve Jablonsky also does this. When Optimus Prime is giving a speech, maybe not the closing speech, but, a speech in the movie like, one shall stand, one shall fall.
Were we so different? They're a young species. They have much to learn. But I've seen goodness in them. Freedom is the right of all sentient beings.
His theme song plays in the background, the Optimus Prime theme song, and it's just such a beautiful track in the background, and it enhances the emotions that you are being bestowed the wisdom of just an ancient being. When you go to your grandparents' house and they lecture you on something that you didn't really mean to be lectured about, but, you listen to them anyways, and it turns out to be a really good story, or you just learn something from it? I guess Optimus kind of gives you that same feeling, right? Like, you want to listen to every word he says, and you want to do exactly what he does because you don't want to disappoint him because he's so wholesome, especially in the first movie. In every single movie, he's a complete psychopath, but, in the first movie, he's okay. But with that Optimus soundtrack in the background, that scoring, when you listen to that on its own, it's also, kind of giving you some wisdom. It's kind of giving you, a knowledgeable lecture. Not in a bad way, in a very good way. And that's how I think, Steve Jablonsky does enhance emotion. And not in just very serious aspects, not just, the very serious speeches and stuff like that. Just, there's tracks like Witwicky where, maybe, Sam Witwicky's getting into some shenanigans. You just need something goofy in the background. Or Sam at the lake when, his friend is climbing up that tree for some reason. You get soundtracks like that to maybe enhance the silliness of the movies.
Keep searching.
Look, I need you to be quiet for 5 minutes. 10 minutes, okay? Please, I'm begging you. You gotta make it a racket. I can't concentrate. You want me to look and I'm
Calm
here.
down, calm down.
So there's certain scores for certain scenes for different emotions, like Optimus, there's that wisdom that you get and feelings of importance in the movie. Then there's, tracks like Witwicky and Sam at the Lake, where, it's kind of slice of lifey and kind of goofy at some points. So it enhances the emotions that this movie isn't all serious, and you can kind of lay back a little bit in some other scenes. And that's what I like about Steve Jablonsky and having these enhanced emotions or making you feel certain ways during these scenes. And he just does that really well. So with those two things out of the way, with the setting the tone and enhancing emotions that Steve Jablonsky does all on his own, just what a legend he is. I just want to be fair. I just want to put that out there, how he, basically shaped the scoring and soundtracks for the Transformers entire franchise. And he's still even helping out today. He's not scoring the Rise of the Beast movie, but he's helping out with it. So you just, shout out to you, Steve Jablonsky. I know you don't need it, but I love you, man. We all do. You're amazing at what you do, and we're really appreciative of you. But yeah, with what Steve Jablonsky does alone with setting the tone and enhancing emotions, what does licensed track do? What do artists and bands also add to that? And what does Transformers get from them? And that's also with setting the tone and enhancing emotions, like the scores do. But these also licensed tracks and songs that you hear on the radio also do that too. Now, licensed tracks, sometimes they can be written for the movie, or sometimes they can just be decided for the movie. And I think a movie has to do a really good job at deciding its playlist for its licensed music. It's got to pick songs that really resonate with the movie and just sound like they fit in there, if that makes sense. Some movies just get, the most popular song at the time of, the film getting released, and they just call it a day because that's what's popular and that's what's going to get people, into the theaters, I guess. But it really separates you as a good film to have licensed tracks in it and make it stand out on its own, not just have it be like, some popular track. Like, it is perfectly picked. Like, when you're playing Operation, you're trying to get, that random sock out of his elbow. Like, how the heck did he get that sock in his elbow? Like, you have no idea. It's kind of like that. You gotta pick very carefully, and sometimes there are just these perfectly good songs in these movies that fit very well. They're good songs, and they also fit. It's not that it's just a good song that they just randomly used. It's not like, Jumanji, Welcome to the Jungle, where they used Welcome to the Jungle by Guns N' Roses at the end. Maybe it fits, but literally it's just because of the title. I don't know. It has to fit, and it has to be good, and it has to make sense. And I think Transformers, the movies, really do a great job at picking these licensed tracks and adding them to the roster. Now, a couple of songs I'm going to list off for, songs that were not made for the movie, but written before, and they picked them and added them to the soundtrack. I'm going to list a couple. First off, Pretty Handsome Walker by The Used. Now, this is a song used in Transformers 1. It is the scene where Barricade and Bumblebee, start chasing after each other like a good old-fashioned car chase scene. That's where that song is used. And I love that scene in general. I think it's so awesome of the irony of, the cop car chasing the bad guy, but the bad guy, the runaway car, is actually the good guy. He's the Autobot, and the police car is the Decepticon. And I just love that about that scene. And also, car chase scenes in general is just awesome, too. And especially in Transformers, it's just really cool. And the excellent song choice for Pretty Handsome Walker by The Used is just really great. They don't, they don't have the lyrics. It's just an instrumental version of the song. But, the song choice is very great, and it really amplifies that intensity of the scene. And that's just a really iconic scene for me in general. I remember watching that as a little kid and just trying to rewatch it as many times as I can on, my Blu-ray disc DVD. Now, secondly, we have 21 Guns by Green Day. Now, the scene it's in isn't a very memorable scene or an iconic scene, but I still think of the scene when I think of or hear 21 Guns, and it's the scene where Michaela's on the motorcycle, and she's calling Sam Witwicky, and they're talking for the first time since, the battle, and Sam's going to college, and they're just calling, basically. And when I hear that song, I remember that scene. So nice job, good song placement in that gist, I guess. It makes me think of that scene, so that means it worked. And also, 21 Guns by Green Day is just a great song in general. 21st Century Breakdown isn't that great of an album in my opinion, but that song, 21 Guns, is really good. So, yeah. And third last, I'm going to say, is Never Say Never by The Fray. And that song's just really good. I love The Fray. They're like a 2000s nostalgia band for me, so whenever I think of them or hear them, I just think about childhood and that sweet, innocent smell of innocence. And that is The Fray for me, and they play that scene with Michaela where she, gets her wedding dress. I don't know. It's a weird scene, but, it's a love scene, so, yeah. But, that's a good song and good fit for that song, and like I said, it's a good song. So those three songs, Pretty Handsome Walker by The Used, 21 Guns by Green Day, and Never Say Never by The Fray. Good song choices, and just ones I just really like in general, just without the movie. So, yeah, go listen to them. Now, next, and basically the last topic on this video is the licensed music that was written for the movie. Michael Bay said, hey, you, yeah, you, I want you to write songs for my movies. And they're like, I don't know, it's just kind of weird. Like, the toys, I'll give you a bunch of money. They're like, all right, and we're going to make the best music you've ever heard, Mr. Bay. And he said, okay. And they followed up on it because some of the songs in here written for the movie are just so damn good. Like, first off, Goo Goo Dolls, Before It's Too Late, Sam and Michaela's song. Yes, that's the full name of that song, but it's just shortened to Before It's Too Late. But it's such a good song. If you don't really know it, because I can't play it because copyright issues, right? Because YouTube and music is such a match made in heaven, am I right? Though this scene, Before It's Too Late, the song, the scene it's in is when Michaela and Sam get inside Bumble. Hold on. It's when Michaela and Sam first get inside. Hold on. So when Bumblebee turns into a car, into the old beat up Chevy Camaro, and Sam's like, hey, we should get in. And Michaela's like, nuh-uh. And he's like, yeah-huh. And they get in, and they, he's like, "Yo, this is the seat with the with the buckle, safety first." And there's that song playing in the background. That's that song, "Before It's Too Late" by the Goo Goo Dolls. And it's just a nice song. I really like it, and it really fits the chemistry of Sam and Michaela. Like, in the beginning of the movie, Michaela doesn't really know who Sam is at all. Sam knows all about Michaela. And then in that scene with "Before It's Too Late" by the Goo Goo Dolls, when they're riding inside of... Wait, hold on. When they're in the car that Bumblebee transforms into, and it is Bumblebee that they are being accompanied by when they're in the seat. I don't know how to say this without sounding suspicious, but they're in the same seat together, and you can kind of feel the chemistry that Sam and Michaela now have. Like I said before, they didn't really know each other. Now they have a special connection, and that's what that song kind of, I feel, represents and makes you feel in that scene. And it's just a good song in general. So go listen to "Before It's Too Late" by the Goo Goo Dolls. And also go listen to "Iris" by the Goo Goo Dolls. It's not in any Transformers movie, but it's just a really good song. You've probably heard it before, but I'm just reminding you that song is a certified banger. So, anyways, let's get on to the next band that I think everybody talks about or thinks of when they think of Transformers licensed music, or just the bands that write for Transformers. And that's a band I'm going to be talking about in a little bit. But for right now, I'm just going to talk about something funny. So, My Chemical Romance. Yes, they wrote a song for the Transformers movie. They wrote it for Dark of the Moon. It's called "The Only Hope for Me Is You." And this song's all right. Like, it's okay. It's not one of their best songs, but the funny story I just have behind it is that they wrote a song called "Vampire Money," which was about bands writing songs for the Twilight series, being like, "Here, you guys are just doing it for the money," and they're criticizing these bands for making cringy songs for movies, and then they go and basically undo what they just sung about and make a movie for Transformers. So I think it's funny how hypocritical it is to write a song about how they're against writing songs for movies, and then they write a song for a movie. And there's nothing against writing a song for a movie. It's like sometimes it makes those songs better, but I don't know. Kind of a funny fact. So, yeah. I don't even know what scene this song is in. I don't even know if it's in Dark of the Moon or if it's in like some just random blurb of the movie, and I just don't know. So, not really recognizable, but whatever. It doesn't really matter. I'm not really here to really talk about My Chemical Romance. What I'm here to talk about now, though, is Linkin Park. Yes, Linkin Park. A phenomenal band. Mike Shinoda, what a mastermind he is, and Chester Bennington, rest in peace, one of the best singers of our generation. Just Transformers and Linkin Park goes together like peanut butter and jelly, chicken and waffles, Cliff Jumper and Dying, and I think beans and toast for people who are from the United Kingdom, because apparently that's a really good mix. I don't get it. If you're from the United Kingdom, please explain to me why beans on toast is a good option, because I would need a lot of convincing for that. So, but yeah, Linkin Park. Now, whatever Transformers movie was coming out at the time, 1, Revenge of the Fallen, Dark of the Moon, Linkin Park always had one track ready for the film, and it was just a certified classic. What I've Done, New Divide, and Iridescent, all three very good. Linkin Park was just so good for Transformers. Now that it's basically the theme song to Transformers. When you think of the Bayverse movies, I think of New Divide. I think New Divide is definitely the theme song of the franchise, or the staple song. Kind of like You Could Be Mine is the staple of Terminator 2. Kind of like Don't You Forget About Me is the staple song of The Breakfast Club. It has that association with Transformers. Kind of like Something in the Way with the new Batman movie. How those kind of connect, and how that's kind of the theme song for that movie. That's how New Divide is for me, but not just with Revenge of the Fallen, but with all of Transformers now. I just very much associate the franchise with that song. And also, What I've Done is such a great track, too. I'm not leaving that out. Though, first, I just want to show you New Divide, and just, especially the intro, and just how it sounds for the film. Like, I recorded my own version of the intro to New Divide and What I've Done, and I just want you guys to get reminded of just how awesome this sounds and how much it can fit these, universes of gigantic robots in the middle of a million-year-old civil war. It is very insane how immersive these songs are to these films. So when I play the intros to these songs, I want you to start thinking of Transformers, and I bet it can be really easy. Just watch. So, when you walk into a movie, maybe pay attention more to the music. It really does help you get you more immersed into the film. It makes you feel more of the film. And it just gives you a better experience overall, in my opinion. Now, for me, I just love music in general, so it's not hard for me to pay attention to the music, whether it's, the microwave beeping or, a full score of a entire, movie franchise, I appreciate everything about music. Like, even with my background music, the background music you're listening to right now, I write that. That's my own, GarageBand recordings that I just scrapped and now I use for my background music. My band, I play in a band, I play in a rock and roll band. We gig around where I'm from, and I do that as a side thing, and it's just, music is a very important part of life, and I think you have to have music in your life to give you some emotion. And music's just so awesome. I don't know how to be so vague and explain everything. I'm so vague about why music is awesome, but I can't really explain it to a full extent because music is just unexplainable. But with that all said, thank you for watching my video on Transformers and its music. I'm Anything RL, and I'll see you guys later.